Jesus says in John 3:8, he says, the wind blows where it wishes. You hear its sound, but you don't know where it's coming from, or you don't know where it's going. He says, so is it with everyone who is born of the Spirit. So what does this mean? It means that to be born of the Spirit is to become untraceable by the patterns of this world. Untraceable by the patterns of this world. You become a new species, a new type of species, a new creation. Not just a better version of the old, but completely a new type of being. You see, we shift from becoming influenced by systems of this world to becoming God movers within it. The winds of this age no longer have sway over you. You are the wind now. You move with divine force, not only untouched by opposition, but you're able to even engulf the opposition. Just like the serpent that was on Moses' staff, when he threw it down, he threw down on that staff and it swallowed the serpents of Pharaoh's magicians. So too do you and I, who are born of the Spirit, overwhelm the lesser powers of darkness. You see, to be born again is to be unenslavable, right? Uncontainable. You can't be contained, unbothered. We're no longer subject to ideologies, not subdued by any principalities. We don't even wrestle to make sense of carnal logic, because the veil of the flesh has been torn. And the veil was never just a temple. It was never just in the temple itself, right? It wasn't just inside of the temple and we saw that being torn from top to bottom. The veil was over our minds. The veil is sinful causality. Sinful causality. It degrades us to live in the realm of sickness, instability, and fear. But in Christ, the veil is lifted. And as we are raised, not just from the grave now, not from the grave, but from dead works, from the works that we do to put us in the grave, from dead thoughts, from dead relationships, from dead emotions. We no longer try to resuscitate a world that God has already declared dead. We're not trying to breathe into this situation, because the Spirit does not struggle with the truth. Demons do. Demons struggle with this. You see, it was the demon of deceit that operated and lived within Jacob, who was known as the trickster, the supplanter. And in desperation, Jacob wrestled with God, not to defeat God, but to be delivered from himself. He wrestled for his identity in God. He was tired of being what the demon had made him. And in mercy, God ended up renaming him Israel, one who contends with and overcomes. He contends with God and overcomes. Now hear me. This is the interesting part, because today, many people are still wrestling with God and think it's a good thing, but it's not. You see, Jacob didn't have what you have. Jacob didn't live in the age of the Spirit born. He didn't have access to the finished work of Jesus, the Messiah, the deliverer, the identity restorer himself, the person who gives you your identity in him. Jacob wrestled to secure a different future, but his struggle became a prophecy. His own struggle became a prophecy, and then an entire nation, Israel, was forever contending with God. But because of the resurrection, Jesus declared, for us, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And that's John 8:36. So we don't have to wrestle. We can rest. But we don't have to strive, because we can submit. We don't even have to earn, because we can inherit. So why are we still trying to liberate ourselves through man-made concepts? Don't you see this? Slavery isn't just a cultural wound. It's a global DEI program under the reign of Satan. He is an equal opportunity engager when it comes to bondage, enslaving minds, bodies, and systems without prejudice. But the gospel itself doesn't offer us reform. It doesn't come to reform us. It doesn't come to reform the world. The gospel comes to give us a new life. It offers us rebirth, not reformation.